The uranium producers open for trade in Australia, and a very different picture the last 2 days. We've actually got a bounce of double digits for some of these stocks. Energy Resources up 10.6%, Paladin almost 9%, and you can see some gains across the charts. There was a lot of selling off on concerns about what the fallout could be from Japan's nuclear situation, whether there will be demand for uranium production and producers later on down the track. As for some of the other main markets, we're seeing the Australian market bouncing as well on the back of some relief out there today. Our guest host for the next 2 hours, Tai Hui, is Regional Head of Economic Research, Southeast Asia at Standard Chartered Bank. Also with us, Jim Rogers, Chairman of Rogers Holdings. Jim, let me come straight to you first up. We saw a very large retracement on markets across Asia yesterday. What did you make of that? Was it an overreaction? Well,
normally when you have serious events like this, there's panic selling. The best thing to do historically has been to wait a little while and then buy into the panic selling. You know, in 1995, when they had the Kobe earthquake, the Japanese stock market went down 25%, but ended the year almost up, or certainly flat. So historically, you just wait, then you step in and buy, and you'll probably be okay.
Were you holding the line yesterday? Were you calm?
I think so. I think there's a huge contrast between Monday and Tuesday, whereas Monday, I think the market was very much looking at the fundamentals between Asia and Japan, but yesterday, frankly, it was just a risk-off environment, and as a result, we've seen a very different reaction on Monday compared with Tuesday.
Jim, Bernie in Tokyo, you know, I've kind of got my hand on the pulse of what's going on here, but nerves are completely shattered. I mean, we can't really take a clinical view of this, can we? Or are you going on the assumption that there will be some resolution, even in the event of a total meltdown, that the world, in whatever form it takes, will go on? And frankly, you know, Japan has moved up since the lows of 2009, 1/4 as much as the S&P. So there is, you know, shouting value there.
Well, normally the world does go on, Bernie. This could be the end of the world. I suspect it's not. If there's a nuclear meltdown in Japan and Tokyo is wiped out because of radioactivity or something, of course, that's going to change a whole lot of things. But my view is that the world will go on. What's going on now is going to present opportunities. I'm doing nothing at the moment, Bernie, except sitting and watching. Maybe I should be acting. But I'm just sitting and watching now and figuring out what to do if and when I act. And it will probably be to buy things that have gone down a great deal.
Well, what you're doing, because you're not a day trader. I know you well, Jim. We're good friends. You don't, you know, you're watching your portfolio basically get smashed. You know, we talked last time you were on my talk show. We talked about commodities and how the boom was back, but it's being ripped at the seams right now. You know, everything from you know, atomic elements to you know, raw materials that go into things because they can't build those things anymore. Has that story come to an end?
No, of course that story hasn't come to an end, and of course my longs are going down. But we also talked last time about my shorts, Bernie, and as you may remember, I was short emerging markets and short the American NASDAQ. So I'm sitting and watching my shorts collapse as well as my longs. The fundamentals for most commodities are now actually getting better. There's going to be a much bigger demand for oil from power plants because nuclear power plants are being shut around the world. So they're going to have more oil, more natural gas to provide more energy. So this is actually good for commodities. Doesn't mean that they're not collapsing. They certainly are as people panic and dump. But in the end, I suspect this will just increase the demand for commodities. Remember, Japan has not been a big buyer of many construction materials because they haven't been building for 20 years. Now they're going to have to rebuild Japan, so the demand for copper and cement and steel and a lot of things is going to go up in Japan, and that's new sources of demand.
No, indeed, Jim, we've been talking about this earlier this morning, a lot of demand creation to do with the rebuilding and reconstruction of Japan. Is there a way, though, to short uranium, and if so, would you do it?
Would I short uranium? No, well, absolutely not. It's already collapsed. I don't like to short something that's collapsed. Oil collapsed too. If those two trades, I'd rather buy oil than short uranium. No, I'm not doing either at the moment. But if I do anything, it will be to buy more oil or energy.
Okay, all right, good to talk to you. We'll get more with Tai Hui from StanChart, and we're also staying with Jim Rogers. We'll be back with a pair of them for more in just a little bit.